Merci, Monsieur le Premier ministre, pour ce discours émouvant et inspirant. On est tous et toutes les bénéficiaires de votre engagement à premier plan pour la démocratie. Thank you all for being here today, and welcome to our first panel discussion, Beyond the Great Firewall, Brave Voices of Dissent in China. We have with us here today 3 panelists who are at the forefront of the major struggles for human rights in China, indeed, the major struggles for human rights of our era. We have with us Abdul Ali Ayub of the Uyghur community, Chimi Lamo of the Tibetan community, and Ray Jia of the pro-democracy movement. Each of them represent millions of others. They are giving a voice to the voiceless, those deprived of their rights to freedom of expression, those deprived of their very right to exist in China today. As the late great Chinese dissident and Nobel Peace Laureate Liu Xiaobo said, freedom of expression is the foundation of human rights, the source of our humanity, and the mother of truth. And therefore, to strangle freedom of speech is to stifle human rights, is to suppress the truth, and is to suppress our common humanity. Our brave panelists here today have experienced this firsthand, how their communities have been deprived of their languages, of their cultural expression, or of their ability to speak at all. Whereas Hillel said, even holding a blank piece of paper are grounds for criminalization, torture, and arbitrary arrest. And make no mistake, what is happening to them and their communities in China affects all of us. Not only is it an attack on our common humanity, but these laws are now being given extraterritorial application. So any of you here today in this room can be subject to investigation, to arrest if you go to China, simply for having attended this panel. Under Hong Kong's new national security laws, these acts of state repression are being extended by the long arm of the state security services. Indeed, we see right now today, Hong Kong media freedom champion Jimmy Lai continues to languish in unjust imprisonment in Hong Kong, and an ongoing trial on fake charges where dissidents are being tortured to give false testimony. We have Dr. Wang Bingzhong, whose daughter, Tiana Wang, was a regular speaker here, who is still languishing on a sentence of life imprisonment in solitary confinement. He suffered several strokes. It is basically a death sentence. He was kidnapped from outside of China and brought back to China. Despite being a Canadian resident, despite his family being Canadian citizens, he is still languishing in prison today, and that is, again, the extraterritorial reach of the Chinese Communist Party. Because as Vladimir Kara-Murza said, the great Russian democratic opposition leader, and Hillel will speak to this, there is a chair here today on behalf of Vladimir, who was just sentenced to 25 years in prison in Russia. He always used to say about Russia, but about any autocratic state, that mass domestic repression inevitably leads to external aggression. We're seeing this in Russia, and now we're seeing this in China, where they are practicing on implementing evil acts against Tibetans, against Uyghurs, against pro-democracy activists, and then exporting that repression anywhere in the world where it is allowed to stand. So we must listen to the testimony of these brave speakers today, and we must act upon it. Indeed, in my home country of Canada, anybody who China wants to suppress, indeed anybody who China does not believe has the right to exist, are subject to harassment, intimidation, and that's something that Chimi, as a Canadian Tibetan, has experienced personally and will speak to. So by listening to this testimony and acting upon it, we are pushing back against these illegal and unjust actions by the Chinese Communist Party, because indeed it puts our common humanity, our democracies, and our rule of law at risk anywhere in the world where it may manifest. But amidst these dark moments, there is also hope. While Uyghurs are being forced into internment camps and children are being sent to orphanages and boarding schools while their parents are in these camps, while Tibetans are being disappeared, while monks are being forced into labor camps and denied the right to speak their language or express their culture, while people like Maju are being put in prison simply for being a part of a blank paper protest, nonetheless, there is hope. Because if, as Liu Xiaobo said, freedom of expression is the lifeblood of democracy and of human rights, these speakers here today, Beyond the Great Firewall, are giving hope to us all. By speaking here, they are challenging this oppression. They are paving a path for us where democracy prevails and where Tibetans, Uyghurs, and all of China can be free.